Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world. Talk about a team that the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. So we are in a full transition right now, and it's kind of a forced transition because something tells me that leaving it up to Pete Carroll, he would just assume keep playing the veteran guys and sprinkle in the rookies here and there, when they're needed. And it's a really weird situation because normally, what a Pete Carroll team would do was give young players like in college, freshmen, or in the pros, rookies, he would give them a lot to do, but a very limited skill set. He would only ask them to do one or two things, but he would ask them to do that quite a bit. Then he would slowly stretch them out and give them more responsibility as the weeks went on. That really wasn't the case with the rookies that we have right now, except for Ashton Genty. Even Darian Porter, he pulled him back for Caillou Blue Kelly. But this is a very strange situation. It seems like we talked a little bit about that yesterday with Pete Carroll wanting to win now and really relying on vets and not so much on the rookies. But a lot of the things didn't make sense. And this is why I want to talk about this today, because Pete Carroll is now being forced to play rookies. He's going to have to play a lot of young players. Maybe not so much on the defensive line. So Tonka and JJ Pegues maybe not get a lot of run because they're still relatively healthy on the defensive line. But in the secondary, you're going to see, I'm counting Caillou Blue Kelly as a young player because even though he's been on practice squads, he really hasn't played that much. And with Darian Porter and a bunch of other guys, on the offensive side is where you were going to see a lot. And it's going to be really telling who is active on the offensive line. You have guys like Putnam and Kappa playing a lot of snaps against the Broncos. And, I mean, they just aren't very good. And I don't know that you can't get a very, similar production out of the young players, but also have that that promise that they're going to get better. You know who Will Putnam is. You know who Alex Kappa is. You know who they are. You put them out there, and there's going to be no upside there. It's just that's who they're going to be. You put Caleb Rogers out there, or you put a Charles Grant out there, and you're going to see improvement week over week. I'm not one to just throw a guy out there just to throw him out there, but I mean, these are guys that were third round picks. Third round picks, to me, third round picks should be contributing players on your team. And the fact that we had, I mean, all three third round picks weren't doing much of anything until a couple of weeks ago. Darian Porter really wasn't playing all that much, and the two linemen weren't even active until Colton Miller got hurt. So you're looking at what's happening with the young players on this team, and it just seems like there was a big disconnect between what John Spytek wanted to do with this team and what Pete Carroll wanted to do with this team. Because John Spytek didn't spend like he wanted to win now. He didn't spend heavy on high value free agents. He sprinkled, he did more dud than stud. He just a 1 year guys here and there. Alex Kappa was signed, for 2 years. That was really the only addition to the offensive line. And then you move JPJ out of center to guard, and this is the an offensive line that was the worst run blocking offensive line last season, and you really didn't do anything to change it. And then you draft a couple of young guys, but then you don't play them, and it just seems like we're not focused. We're not on the same page right now, and I find it very hard to believe that Pete Carroll is going to change his strategy now. He's going to play young guys when he's forced to play young guys. And with Jacoby Myers gone, he's got to throw the young guys out there at receiver, right? So it just seems to me like the guys are on the same page. And I watched the Pete Carroll press conference from today. I'm going to play it in a second. It doesn't seem like he's all that optimistic and all too excited about playing young players, especially on the offensive line. Actually, let's get to that right now. This Pete Carroll's press conference from today.
Well, we're getting ready here with start this long week for us for Monday night coming up, and we're going to try to take full advantage of it. We need a lot of areas need to improve. We got work to do, and we're going to take advantage of the days that are extra, which is one of them today.
We talked a lot about the short week last week. How much does that longer week give you guys time to work on some things?
No, it does. It does. I thought our guys responded really well and played really hard the other night on Thursday night, and I really liked that we were able to do that. Because it's a unique situation that you're in, and we got to learn from those times when we get them. But this will help too. This gives you a little bit of break on the legs, and we'll get a good full week plus half a day today and a full day tomorrow. So we have nothing to complain about. We got a lot of time to get better.
The news that Jackson Powers Johnson might be going to IR, does that open up an opportunity for Caleb Williams or Caleb Rogers to compete for some playing time?
Yeah, he will go on IR then, in that it certainly does. We'll see how Dylan Parham does coming back, but we think he's going to make it back, and it does open up opportunities that we're gonna give some guys a shot at it and see how that looks. We've been kind of working the backup spot there for some time now, so that's kind of in line with what's been going on. We're gonna miss JPJ. He plays his butt off and really loves this program and shows it in everything that he does. But it's going to be a while before he gets back, but the IR thing will take care of that.
What went into the decision to alleviate Tom McMahon, and also with that, what do you think this means for Darius to be able to step up into that role as well?
Yeah, I thought we needed a change, and I love Tom. He's a great dude, and he's done a great job for us. He's a career ball coach, and but I thought we just needed a change. And part of that is that I want to see what Darius does with it and see how he handles it. I mean, he's done it before. He's been in this situation before. He's been a teams guy before, and he's very well versed. But I think it was time for a change there, and that's why we did that.
What are some of Darius' strengths?
Yeah, he's a very good communicator, very active on the field, hands-on type of coach, really skilled in scheme. There's not time to change a bunch of our scheme at this point, but is to emphasize and to focus on things that we think we need to get better. And so I'm hoping that the voice change will help us in that regard.
What has Caleb shown you, during this development phase?
Yeah, he's a really good athlete. He's bright. He's got a good mentality about him. He brings energy when he's on a field. It's just a matter of time before he really gains command of what's going on with the game itself. So he's got a real high upside. So we're interested in giving him a chance to show what he can do and see if he can get on the field and help us out. So really nothing but positive so far.
You haven't had to make a staff change in your career a lot mid-season. What are your expectations, I guess, of what kind of jump that could give, not just special teams, but the whole group?
Yeah, well, I knowing Tom and Darius as I do, those guys they'll speak a lot of the same language, but it'll be a change for us, kind of in personality that I'm hoping will help us and make a difference, and I'm hoping that also motivates our players too, that they realize that we need to do better. We need to avoid the big errors that have happened to us in the kicking game that have cost us potential wins, and that they'll rally behind this move, and that doesn't mean that they don't love Tom. They do, and so we'll see how this goes. You're right about that. Yeah. There haven't been very many changes, but this is one of them.
Where's Carlson's head right now?
Well, he's trying to get right. He wants to do right by his team, and he wants to get clear. And he's well versed on the mentality of how you do that, the preparation and the practice to get your mind clear so that you can perform like you're capable. And when they stack up on you after some time, you have to deal with it directly. So we're addressing that right now.
Obviously, a lot of errors on special teams, but you did have 2 punts inside the 2-yard line last game. What does that do for your team?
Yeah, the kicking game was really good in some aspects of it. We covered like crazy, had some big hits and setbacks, field position changes. AJ's game was almost perfect. A beautiful game, and under those conditions with the weather, you saw how it affected their punter. He came through in a magnificent way, which set up the opportunities for the defense to really take advantage of it, and they did. So we were really fitting together in real positive ways. Missing a kick and getting a punt block, they can make a difference in the game. And look how close this game was. That's how it was. I think they scored after the punt block, and and we missed our 3 points there. So huge factors, and hopefully we can get rid of those.
You had 2 picks on Thursday against Denver. Just looking at the tape, what did he do well in your eyes?
He played a really good fundamental game, which he does a lot. He really understands the principles of staying on top and working his technique. He's a really good tackler, and he's got very good hand-eye coordination. And he showed it on that ball. It was a heck of a catch to make under those circumstances, and changed that situation in the game drastically. And even the tip that he grabbed he very aggressively went after that ball and snatched it out of the air, just showing that he's comfortable playing the position. So I was really happy with both those guys that played the right corner spot. Corners have been playing pretty good football, and KU took advantage of his opportunities really well.
Lonnie Johnson had to jump back in there pretty quick. What did he show you on film?
Well, he has a lot of confidence, and he brings a lot of confidence from his experience and all of that. He's working with Marcus and Joey. He knows those guys really well. We trust the heck out of him. We were really excited about his role as he would fit it into the rest of the fellas when we started this thing off. So he's excited about showing it, and we're excited about seeing it. So he's just getting started. This won't be his best game. He's going to improve as he goes, gains his confidence and all of that. Gets a chance to tackle a few more guys. He had a couple nice tackles in the game. But he's a very well versed football player and has a lot of variety to the things he adds.
Does that also free up maybe Jeremy Chin to be utilized in different ways as well?
Well, you've seen the last 2 weeks has been a little bit of a shift because we were heading towards Lonnie coming back, and so you've seen him in a couple different spots. So he's a most versatile player. He did some really exciting things this week in the game plan, and we hope to continue to expand on that.
Where's Gino health-wise?
He was out there today. He feels pretty good.
What about Parham?
He was out there today also. So with the long week, we have a chance for both those guys to be ready to go.
That's good.
Yep. Thanks so much.
All right. So one thing that was really, concerning to me, it really said a lot, was when Pete was asked about the injuries and rumors are JPJ going on IR, and he said, no, it's not a rumor. He is going to go on IR. And when Pete was asked about, was that going to help, some, younger guys like Caleb Rogers going to get some playing time? And he said, well, yeah, we've been looking into the backups role, and we've been using, already looking into the backups for the last couple of weeks. Well, the backups that he showed were Will Putnam and Alex Kappa. So it didn't give a ringing endorsement for Caleb Rogers. Then somebody, I don't know who it was, but I love the question. Okay, well, if you're going to give Caleb Rogers the opportunity to get us, win a spot, what's good about him? What do you like about his game? And it was just some canned stuff. Oh, he's enthusiastic. He goes out there and he's good energy and blah, 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 and this and that. I just don't see it, man. I don't see Pete Carroll changing his mindset to play young players. I think it's going to be Will Putnam and Alex Kappa, one of those two guys. I don't get it, man. I really don't. I don't understand why he's not willing to put these young players out there. I think he played the young receivers because we traded everyone. We traded Jacoby Myers away, and even then, Tyler Lockett got the most work out of anybody. And it's a guy that he knew. He's just sticking to a guy. He just sticking to what he knows, and I just don't think that's what we need right now. We need to find out new things. I applaud Pete for taking a step back, seemingly, and letting Patrick Graham run and implement his own game plan, because the defense that we played against the Broncos wasn't the defense that we played, previous. That was more of a Pete Carroll cover 3, cover 2 style. And I don't get it. I don't understand the hesitation to play young players. You're 2-7. You're not going anywhere. you might as well play these guys and see what they can do. And I just don't understand. I mean, it's not waving the white flag. You're testing your young players, and I can understand it from one perspective that if you put a player that's not ready to play, obviously not ready to play, then what signal does that give to your veterans that you're telling to continue to fight, even though you're 2-7? And I can understand it from that perspective. But if Caleb Rogers still is not ready to play as a third-round pick, that was a waste of a third-round pick. If he's not able to play, it's either a really bad job of discovery and drafting and development, and a really bad job of coaching if they're not able to give you anything, if they're not even able to dress. And it just seems like Pete Carroll is dug in with the notion that he's going to play the vets that he knows and the vets that he trusts, and he's not really interested in putting these young guys in there. Colin Cowherd had an interesting take on Pete Carroll and the Raiders and their handling of Gino Smith, and it's a little bit of a hindsight type of thing, but what he's saying is true. Let's hear what Colin Cowherd had to say about the Raiders and Pete Carroll with Gino Smith.
Let's talk Raiders briefly. When you pursue Gino Smith, the Raiders gave up a third-round pick and paid him $66 million guaranteed. The Seahawks got Sam Darnold for no picks. He was a free agent and only pay him $55 million guaranteed. Seattle's John Snyder, really smart, really good personnel guy. The Raiders, they overpaid, over-pursued Gino Smith, who once again leads the NFL in picks. I mean, he can't figure out basic pass protection. It's bad. And right now, he's arguably the worst quarterback in the league. The last 2 years, Gino Smith has 7 more interceptions than the next highest interception quarterback. So it's one thing to settle at quarterback. You should never settle at quarterback. It's another to pursue the wrong one. And I understand sometimes you draft a quarterback and you don't really know how it's going to pan out because it's college football to pro. Gino has been in the league as long as I've been at Fox. You got a lot of tape on me. You got a lot of tape on Gino. You got to know after all these years in the league what a guy is and what a guy isn't. The smart GMs are not pursuing, surrendering a third-round pick. The Raiders could have had Darnold. Nobody in the world thinks Gino's better than Darnold. So, I mean, and the other thing is, Brock Bowers, as far as I can tell, I don't have the game film, is open on every play. How does he have 1 reception? I don't even understand it. So Pete Carroll had a full year away from football to modernize, to reflect, to look in the mirror, to take stock, to evaluate everything. And he went back to Gino Smith. That ain't good. I mean, that's old school Gino Smith. 27 picks in the last 2 years, 7 more than the next guy. So the Raiders have earned 4th place. In the modern NFL, if you are tone deaf to quarterback, you're tone deaf to winning. And again, it's not like Gino didn't have a resume. You didn't need to go to West Virginia sophomore year to look at film. You could have gone to last year. And Pete had a year off to reflect. Offensively, I don't even know what the Raiders are. You never want to settle at quarterback. A lot of these defensive coaches, they're like, Sam Howell, Mitch Trubisky. It's another to pursue $66 million guaranteed and a third-round pick to pursue Gino, who's been in the league forever and is a turnover machine. So you earned your spot in 4th place.
Pretty straightforward from Colin Cowherd. I will correct something here. When Pete Carroll had Gino Smith, he wasn't a turnover machine. Okay? So don't worry. Okay? I'm gonna call it like it is. When Gino Smith was under Pete Carroll for the 2 years he started, he was really good. Now, just because Pete Carroll can do what he does at an advanced age doesn't mean everybody can do what they can do at an advanced age. And that's even questionable if Pete Carroll can do it. Because what Colin Cowherd said is right. Pete Carroll took a year off to reflect, seemingly to modernize his way of thinking, and he goes back to what he was doing before. It's almost kind of like that Derek Carr thing where he got Dennis Allen fired twice. He got him fired from the Raiders and he got him fired from the Saints. Well, Gino Smith can get Pete Carroll fired twice. He got him fired from the Seahawks, and then he can get him fired from the Raiders too. But it's all Pete's fault if it happens, because like Colin said, it wasn't like you just signed the guy and he's bad. You went out there and you traded for him, gave up really good capital for him, and you gave him a ton of money. And I was trying to be positive about the move because I was looking at Gino Smith under the eyes of what was he under Pete Carroll. And I think the big misstep that we made was we set the table for ourselves, and all we needed to do was strengthen the offensive line, and we didn't do it. We drafted a running back at number 6 overall. Great. And we didn't do anything to bolster that offensive line. I don't know that the coaching staff was that high on Jordan Meredith before the season even started, before the preseason even started, that they couldn't go out there and get another offensive lineman. There was some out there to be had. And guys with some tread on the tire left still too, that would have really helped this line. But to look at, see what you had last season, that was the worst run blocking, offensive line in the league, and to just roll out with them again. Pete Carroll knew I need to protect Gino Smith. I need to give Gino Smith a running game. If I do that, Gino Smith can be the 2022 and 2023 Gino Smith, and not the 2024 Gino Smith when he had all these guys out and he had no running game and he was throwing the ball picks left and right. That's an issue that we're running into right now, is the running game isn't consistent. We can't protect Gino Smith, and he's turned the ball over like crazy. But the problem is Pete Carroll knew that. Pete Carroll knew that I can't just put him in there to any situation to have him succeed. Because if that was the case, he would have succeeded with the Jets or with the Giants, right? And let's not forget, when Pete Carroll took over Seattle, he paid big money for Matt Flynn, and that washed out. So this is the second time he's starting up in the pros, his last 2 spots, where he paid big money for a veteran quarterback, and they're not playing too well. Matt Flynn couldn't even beat out a rookie. So this is a tough pill to swallow, man. And I don't mind. I mean, look, I said on this show, and I said on my other podcast, I said that you can look back. You can look back at the videos. I said Sam Darnold is the guy. Sam Darnold is mobile. He has a strong arm. He's big. He's young. He's learned. He went to Shanahan for a year, and then he went to O'Connell another year with Minnesota, and he got better. And he's young, and he should be the guy. Now, I was optimistic about Gino Smith because I looked more at how Gino Smith played under Pete and not that last year under McDonald with Seattle. But yeah, man, we got fleeced, man. We give up a 3rd round pick and gave Gino all that money. And this falls solely at the feet of Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is not going to bench Gino Smith, because if you take this job and you tell your front office, go get me Gino Smith, go get me him, I can win with him. And then you pay the man a ton of money and he gives you this type of output. And now Pete Carroll's pretty much hemmed in. This is the issue that I'm having right now, is Pete Carroll always preaches competition, and you're telling me that's the best we have. 12 interceptions, terrible play, can't score. That's the best we have. And if that's the best we have, then that's pretty sad. And you didn't give that, plus you didn't give your 1st round rookie the opportunity to succeed by not bolstering this offensive line. So those are 2 huge mistakes. And I hate hearing from Colin Cowherd as much as anybody. I don't like the dude. I think he's a flip-flopper. I think he's wishy-washy. I think he goes back and forth on things. I'll tell you straight up. I'm telling you right now, I was optimistic about the Gino Smith acquisition because I was focusing on his years with Pete Carroll. And I was wrong. He was more, and he's proven to be more the guy under McDonald than the guy under Pete. And like I said, Pete may have thought, hey, you know what? I'm still kicking at 73, 74 years old, and I think I'm at a high level. Gino Smith is less than half my age. Let me go ahead and try him again. I don't know, man. I just don't think it's something that we can do much further. But I also don't think that Pete Carroll's going to admit the mistake because he's pretty much married to Gino. That's his guy. I paid him big money. That's the guy I wanted. And he's pretty much saying that, yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. And, you know, Colin Cowherd is right. You get these defensive guys, I'll give me anybody and we can win. Well, that's not the case. And he said, you know, you're tone deaf to quarterbacks, you're tone deaf to winning, and I can't argue with him. It seems right now that we're kind of going to be kind of stuck this rest of the season with Gino Smith because as long as Pete Carroll's here and Gino Smith is on the roster, I think Gino Smith is going to be the starter because Pete Carroll is going to make sure that's so. All right, guys, that's my time for today. Really appreciate you guys watching. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's the next way to support the channel, and it's absolutely free. On top of that, we have the Shield Society. It's $5 a month. It's a membership. You get some perks. I gave some freebies out to the guys before. If I'm going to do some freebies again in the future. And if you want to do it, great. It's only $5. If you're not, or you don't want to, or you can't, that's fine too. I'm still giving you a video every single day. All that, and all I ask from you is to tell your friends, tell your haters, tell your mamas, tell everybody. Raiders versus the world is the greatest thing going in Raider Nation today. All right, guys, that's my time. Until next time, everybody. Peace. Hey, Raider Nation, thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button, drop a comment, make sure to subscribe, and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.